Implementation of the annual teaching plan for the CAPS document in a diverse classroom. The CAPS document and its significance in guiding teaching and learning in South African classrooms. The Curriculum and Assessment Policy Statement document serves as a guide in implementing content that is relevant to young learners from different backgrounds. It provides a framework for goals and objectives that are needed to be achieved in every learner's education. It emphasizes the necessary knowledge and skills that each phase is required to establish learning readiness. The significance of the CAPS document is that it provides a structured framework of what is expected for learners to achieve throughout their academic years, what assessment is required for teachers to use to meet national goals and objectives, as well as establish flexibility and creativity through teaching and learning. Not only is the CAPS document significant in establishing a structural framework, but it also establishes professionalism and ethics that teachers must follow to promote holistic learning. In South Africa, the CAPS document takes into consideration indigenous learning, technology, life skills, and beginning knowledge that is important in establishing the foundation of learning and teaching. The importance of considering diversity in the classroom and how it influences teaching strategies. Diversity in education considers a range of different backgrounds, communications, and learning styles that are important for all learners who differ in gender, race, culture, disability, and socioeconomic statuses. By considering diversity within a classroom setting, it promotes positivity and acceptance in the environment, which also further promotes learner motivation and academic achievement. Diversity influences teaching strategies by adapting to approaches that focuses on inclusivity, acceptance, and overall participation. Diversity influences the way teachers approach certain learning topics and knowledge areas. For example, due to the differences in socioeconomic statuses of some learners, it can be understood that not all learners have access to technology. Diversity influences teaching strategies by making teachers find ways to accommodate all learners within their given resources. This promotes inclusivity and also integrates different approaches to using resources that are accessible and cost-effective. Some children may experience disabilities that interfere with their academic performances. Therefore, this shows that diversity encourages teachers to adopt strategies that include everyone in the learning experience with or without neurodevelopment disabilities.
Understanding diversity, socioeconomic, cultural, and intersectionality. Cultural diversity refers to the range of different cultures, beliefs, traditions, languages, and customs present within a society or group. Socioeconomic diversity encompasses differences in income, education, occupation, and social status among individuals or groups, highlighting disparities in economic opportunities and resources. Intersectionality. This recognizes that individuals may experience multiple dimensions of diversity simultaneously, such as being a person of color and a member of the LGBTQ+ community, leading to unique and intersecting forms of discrimination and privilege. Other aspects of diversity. This includes factors such as age, gender identity, sexual orientation, disabilities, and neurodiversity. It acknowledges the diverse range of experiences, perspectives, and identities present within societies and organizations. It highlights the importance of creating inclusive environments that respect and value individuals' differences, fostering a sense of belonging and equity for all members. Linguistic diversity. This encompasses variations in language usage, dialects, accents, and communication styles among individuals or groups. It recognizes the richness of linguistic diversity within societies, including multilingualism and language preservation efforts. It emphasizes the importance of accommodating diverse linguistic backgrounds in education, workplace environments, and public services to ensure inclusivity and accessibility. Learning styles. This refers to the different ways individuals prefer to acquire and process information, including visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and tactile learning styles. It recognizes that people have unique preferences and strengths in how they learn best, which can influence their academic performance and engagement. It advocates for incorporating varied teaching methods and instructional approaches to cater to diverse learning styles and preferences, promoting equitable educational opportunities for all learners.
Analysis of the CAPS document. Overview on the key components of the CAPS document relevant to life skills, feelings. Within the life skills CAPS document, under the topic feelings, it is intended to be taught for 6 hours in term 1. This includes discussions of things that make me happy and things that make me sad. Learning to recognize more complex feelings and emotions such as anger, fear, worry, loneliness, happiness, excitement, and others. Positive ways to express what and how we feel. Apologies and how to say sorry. To aid in the teaching of feelings, resources that can be used include pictures, stories, rhymes about feelings, puppets, and masks. How the CAPS document addresses the inclusion of diverse learners and supports differentiated instructions. The National Curriculum Statement for grades R through 12 is sensitive to issues of diversity. This includes poverty, inequality, race, gender, language, age, and disability, as well as many other factors. Indigenous knowledge systems are valued. This acknowledges the rich history and heritage of South Africa as important contributors to nurturing the values that are within our Constitution. To address the inclusion of diverse learners and differentiated instruction, the CAPS document suggests that all teachers need to have sound knowledge of how to recognize and address different barriers to learning, as well as how to plan for diversity. A key concept in achieving this includes making use of all the relevant structures within the school community. These different structures are teachers, district-based support teams, institutional support teams, parents, as well as special schools and resource centers. Lastly, the teacher should use various teaching strategies and methods as suggested in the Department of Basic Education's Guidelines for Inclusive Teaching and Learning.
Development of the annual teaching plan. Several procedures must be followed to ensure that the annual teaching plan, developed using the Curriculum Assessment Policy Statement, is in alignment with the requirements, aims, and educational objectives specified in the CAPS papers. Here is a basic outline for how to create such a plan. Number 1. Comprehend CAPS documents. Ensure that you as a teacher are familiar with the CAPS documents that pertain to the particular subject or grade level that you are teaching. Understand the guidelines for assessment, learning outcomes, content standards, and recommended teaching approaches provided within the CAPS document. Number 2. Determine learning goals. Examine the educational goals outlined in the CAPS material. Divide these goals into doable sections or topics that can be studied throughout the course of the school year. Number 3. Choose your instructional methods. To promote student comprehension and engagement, select the most effective teaching strategies and instructional techniques. Think about using a range of methods such as group projects, multimedia presentations, and group debates. These methods will also need to be adapted for learners who require different learning styles and have different learning difficulties. Number 4. Content sequence. Content should be arranged logically, building on previously acquired information and abilities. Number 5. Set aside time. Allocate time for each unit or subject. Make sure it aligns with the CAPS criteria. Take into account the unit's significance, difficulty, and expected pace of learning for students. Number 6. Plan assessments. Develop assessment tasks and tools aligned with the learning outcomes and assessment guidelines provided in the CAPS document. These assessments should include formative and summative assessments to monitor students' progress and provide feedback. Number 7. Organizing resources. Determine the equipment, supplies, and technology required to assist in teaching and learning activities. Make sure the materials are compatible with the curriculum. How to modify and adapt the ATP to accommodate diverse learners based on different styles and abilities. Number 1, differentiated education. Provide learners with a variety of representational and engaging mediums to help differentiate their education. This can entail supplying a range of resources and materials for learners to make use of, as well as letting students use written assignments, oral presentations, or visual projects to show what they have learned. Number 2, structured guidance. Make use of scaffold instruction by dividing difficult assignments into smaller, more doable segments. Teachers can also provide extra help and direction to students who might find it difficult to understand a particular topic or skill. Number 3, frequent observation and feedback. Keep an eye on the development of learners and provide them with feedback to help them learn. This should be based on continuous assessments and observations of the student's performance. Then the teachers should be able to modify teaching strategies and interventions as necessary.
Inclusive teaching strategies, examples of activities, assessments, and resources. Activities. Multisensory learning. This incorporates hands-on activities, visual aids, and interactive games to engage students with diverse learning styles. Cooperative learning. This encourages collaborative group activities where students work together to solve problems, share ideas, and learn from each other. Storytelling. Use storytelling as a tool to introduce diverse perspectives, cultures, and experiences. This fosters empathy and understanding among students. Differentiated instruction. Provide activities varying levels of complexity or support to accommodate students' diverse needs and abilities. Role-playing. Engage students in role-playing scenarios that promote empathy, conflict resolution skills, and perspective talking. Assessments. Alternative assessments offer multiple ways for students to demonstrate their understanding, such as through projects, presentations, portfolios, or performances. Formative assessment. Use ongoing assessments such as quizzes, discussions, or observations to monitor student progress and provide timely feedback for improvement. Flexible timing. Provide extended time or alternative scheduling options for assessments to accommodate students with diverse learning needs or disabilities. Self-assessment and reflection. Encourage students to reflect on their own learning process, set goals, and assess their progress, promoting self-awareness and metacognitive skills. Resources. Diverse literature. Incorporate books, stories, and materials from diverse authors, cultures, and perspectives into the curriculum to reflect the experiences of all students. Culturally relevant materials. Select resources that resonate with students' cultural backgrounds, experiences, and identities, validating their identities and fostering a sense of belonging. Universal Design for Learning, UDL. Resources utilize UDL principles to create inclusive instructional materials and resources that accommodate diverse learning needs and preferences. Digital tools and assistive technologies. Integrate technology tools and assistive technologies that support accessibility and accommodate students with diverse learning needs or disabilities. Community partnerships. Collaborate with community organizations, museums, libraries, or local experts to access additional resources, expertise, and learning opportunities that enrich students' learning experiences.
Inclusive teaching strategies. A variety of inclusive activities, assessments, and resources that promote inclusivity. The Invisible Boy. This is an activity based on the book The Invisible Boy by Trudy Ludwig. The book is about a boy who has become invisible and the different acts of kindness he does, and how small acts of kindness can make someone's day and make them feel included. Learners can relate to the main character's feelings of loneliness. This can start a discussion about the different ways learners felt excluded in the classroom. People Bingo. This is a fun activity where the learners get to know each other. Each person has a bingo card, a pen, or a pencil. The learners then go around the room trying to fill up their bingo cards. If a learner can't move, students will come to them. This allows each learner to feel included and validated. Inclusive Play-Doh mats. Each student gets a Play-Doh mat where a face with the skin color of each student is printed. The learners then use Play-Doh to create a face of themselves. This is a good activity because each learner, no matter their skin color, is included in the activity of making their own self-portraits. My Brother Charlie by Holly Pete is a book about a set of twins, a boy and a girl and a boy. Charlie, the boy who is autistic, is a fun book where learners are taught empathy and inclusivity. It allows children who have brothers or sisters who are autistic to feel included and heard. Family trees. A fun and exciting activity would be to have each learner make a family tree. This allows each learner to show off their family background and culture. It is also a fun and exciting way to show the differences of each family in the classroom and what makes a family a family. A culture fair. A culture fair is an activity where the whole grade or school can participate. This is where learners can get together and bring in foods, clothes, and various objects that are in their cultures. Students can learn about different cultures and ethnicities.
Assessment and evaluation. Assessing and evaluating students by the CAPS document. In South Africa, teaching and assessment techniques in schools are governed by an extensive framework known as the Curriculum and Assessment Policy Statement, in other words, CAPS. Understanding the objectives listed in the CAPS document for every topic and grade level in detail is the first step. The creation of tests that effectively assess the learner's progress is based on these objectives. The use of formative assessments is to track the learner's progress and give continuous feedback right through the entire educational process. The learning objectives listed in CAPS should be by a variety of assessments used in classes. At the end of every unit or term, provide summative tests to evaluate the learner's general comprehension of the material. Tests, assignments, and exams are examples of summative assessments that can be used. It is important to make sure that the scope and complexity of the material covered in these evaluations align with the CAPS. Strategies for fair and equitable assessment for the diverse needs of learners. Number 1. Language support. Provide learners who are not native speakers with linguistic help, as they might have difficulty understanding the language of teaching. This might involve providing dictionaries in both languages, offering language support during tests, or allowing learners to submit their tests in the original mother tongue language. Number 2. Clear assessment criteria. Clearly define the requirements for each activity or assignment in advance by providing learners with straightforward and ambiguous assessment standards. This aids learners in understanding expectations irrespective of their circumstances. 3. Student choice. Give learners the option to choose subjects, teaching styles, or assessment techniques that best suit their interests and skills by giving them choices in these areas. 4. Culturally appropriate assessments. Create inclusive, culturally appropriate tests that take into consideration the previous experiences and backgrounds in the culture of your learners. This boosts engagement and enables learners to realize that their learning relates to their personal lives. 5. Test out comprehensive evaluation methods. Before using your evaluation method on a broad scale, test it using a small sample of learners. If you have big plans for it, that might have a big impact. When a learner responds to a test question, try asking them to think aloud. Their answers should reflect the ideas that you meant. Examine the learner's answers in assignments and open-ended questionnaire to ensure that they make sense and inquire about any ambiguities or confusions they may have. And lastly, 6. Prevent unintentional prejudice. A fair and impartial assessment makes use of terms that everyone understands as well as circumstances which are equally known to everyone. Unless you are particularly measuring learners' learning in these contexts, for example, using situations including farming or asking learners to examine soccer statistics in a quantitative skills test, might not appear fair to women or learners.
Ethan's brilliant abilities but limited by inadequate social skills. There are 12 children in a classroom which consists of 6 girls and 6 boys. They are all in a private school which accommodates children with special needs and provides resources that enable diversity within the classroom. Ethan is a 14-year-old boy diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, ASD. He struggles with social interactions and communication, often finding it difficult to express his thoughts and feelings. Despite being able to develop aspects of imaginative play like other children, he fails to gain acceptance from the other learners due to his limitations in social and emotional skills. This causes him to become socially withdrawn. Ethan is highly sensitive to sensory stimuli, such as loud noises or bright lights, which become overstimulating and lead to meltdowns and repetitive patterns of movement, such as rocking back and forth. Ethan, however, is brilliant in solving calculations without a calculator and performs well in mathematics. Strategies. Individualized instructions. By recognizing Ethan's unique learning style, you can adapt instructions to accommodate his needs, using alternative communication methods or providing additional time for assessments. Incorporation of strategies that focus on using Ethan's strengths to meet the CAPS requirements efficiently and effectively. Sensory support. Create a sensory-friendly classroom, minimizing distractions and providing sensory tools like noise-cancelling headphones or fidget toys, and implementing early interventions such as high-structured interventions which focus on placing boundaries to minimize distractions. Structured environment. Ethan will benefit from a structured and predictable classroom environment, maintaining consistent routine and providing visual cues to help him understand expectations, as well as creating a classroom which is child-friendly to both atypical and typically developing children. Positive reinforcement. Encourage typically developed children to initiate interactions with children with ASD and be rewarded for including the learner in activities. It can also be encouraging to children with ASD to initiate interactions with typically developing children. This ensures that no one in the classroom setting is left out of any classroom activities. Isabella's misfortunes and difficulties. There are 30 children in a classroom, which consists of 12 girls and 23 boys. The school is a government school and lacks the resources to accommodate all the academic needs of each student. The classrooms are overcrowded and 2 learners share the same table, which is not big enough for both of them. Learners like Isabella, who is a 12-year-old student, comes from a low socioeconomic background. She lives in a small apartment with her parents and 2 younger siblings. Due to financial constraints, Isabella's family faces challenges such as limited access to educational resources, unstable housing, and inadequate healthcare. In the classroom, Isabella exhibits signs of academic struggle and emotional distress. She often arrives at school late and frequently misses assignments. Despite her potential, Isabella lacks the necessary support and resources to thrive academically. Strategies. Individual support. This can focus on the specific learning needs of Isabella, like after-school tutoring lessons, extra one-on-one help, or connecting with the community resources for additional support. Social and emotional support can provide emotional support from the teacher or school counselor to address any stress or anxiety she has or experiences from home. Find support groups for the family and Isabella who are facing similar challenges. Access to resources. The teacher can provide her with additional materials like textbooks, school supplies, and access to the library or computer lab. Implementing diverse teaching strategies. Use of cost-effective and useful resources that can be used to achieve learning objectives and outcomes.
There are a variety of challenges and opportunities for implementing the annual teaching plan in a diverse class. The opportunities. Diverse teaching strategies. By implementing the annual teaching plan, it can promote the use of diverse teaching and learning instructions, where different resources and materials can promote inclusivity and give fair learning opportunities for all learners in the classroom. Increasing inclusivity in the classroom. Implementing the annual teaching plan in a diverse classroom promotes learning opportunities where all learners with different socioeconomic statuses of learning abilities can experience them without feeling disadvantaged or excluded. The challenges, however, in learning barriers, implementing the annual teaching plan in a diverse classroom can be challenging due to the learners who come from different backgrounds, having different home languages and communication skills. Since some learners may not be able to speak English or schools accommodate for only one language, and it being one that the learner cannot communicate in, can result in learners feeling excluded from the ATP's goals and objectives. Learning disabilities, the annual teaching plan objectives and goals may form an assumption that all learners are intellectually capable of meeting school demands and achieve academic accomplishments. However, some learners may experience a range of disabilities and learning barriers that may exclude them from the learning experiences. The key points for emphasizing the importance of ongoing reflection and adaptation is improving communication among individuals, improving collaboration and cooperation among diverse individuals, keeping track of ongoing progress and academic accomplishments, and promoting engagement and participation in tasks.